I've done plenty of research into this, and I'm now certain what I say is 100% true. There are still parts I don't understand, but that's the reason why I wrote this report, so others could give me their own theories. I'm 19. I go to school in Angelo State University in San Angelo, Texas. I grew up in Waco. The soon-to-be valedictorian already had scored a fatty scholarship at UT. He wasn't a nerd by any standards. He was a starting basketball player and a powerlifter. A literally perfect child. Anyway, the Smithsonian Society of one of National Honor Things at a trip for seniors that year sent 15 lucky young brain children to Brazil to study plant life. Most people would kill not to go on a trip that consisted of putting leaves in beakers, but David went apeshit and begged Mum to go. It was probably 3 weeks he was gone. He left during Christmas break and actually missed the holidays that year, but he loved it. So we were okay with it. So fast forward to the day he got back from Brazil. He could have skipped about a week of school, justifiably. But 1, he had his first game, and 2, he wouldn't miss school for the world. I remember the day he got back and we picked him up at the airport. He looked perfectly fine, healthy and happy. In fact, he wouldn't stop blabbering about the goddamn plants on the way home. I was surprised Mum didn't drive off the road and kill all of us just for a moment of silence. It wasn't but a couple of days later I noticed anything weird. It was after David's first game. He looked like hell. Pale, walked everywhere like he was exhausted. He just said it was the first game that blew him out. I didn't have the nerves to tell him he shouldn't be tired because he played terribly and the coach hardly put him in. He still got up every morning, went to practice and school, each day looking worse and worse, paler, moving slower and slower. After about a week, my mum insisted he went and see a doctor. All of us went. I had to make sure he was okay. I was legitimately scared for him. It was at the office we saw it. He pulled his shirt up to put on a stethoscope of something, and we saw a large green algae-like growth on the side of his ribs. I can still remember my mum's shocked expression as she shouted, "David, why didn't you tell us anything about this before?" His only explanation was a blank expression for a whole minute, even after my mum yelling at him over and over and over for an answer. Eventually, he managed, but told me not to tell. After that, he was put into the hospital overnight until we could figure out what the hell was going on. It's probably a whole month that he laid in the hospital. I visited him every day as soon as I got out of school. I could describe each visit, but frankly, they were bland, and he said nothing. Ever. I was lying in bed listening to some music. A typical nightly routine before I went to sleep. Felt kinda hungry. Got up, creeped downstairs, and hoped to snatch in a midnight snack of some kind. It was at least 1 a.m. and I was tired. My half-blood vision led me to the refrigerator. I remember hearing footsteps. Mum. Then I heard it. The words that would haunt me forever. David's voice, whispering angrily at no one. No, I won't do it. I'm not ready to die. Eventually his argument with the non-existent voice grew louder and louder until he was nearly yelling. No, I won't. I won't. Eventually, I grew the balls to peek around the corner. "David?" I asked, as if to act like I haven't heard his shouting. I flipped on the light, knowing what I saw would be terrible. I was wrong. It was terrifying. His eyes were rolled in the back of his head. Clumps of his hair were missing. He had scratch marks all over his body where he's apparently clawed himself. David looked around, right now blind from his condition. "David, it's me, your brother." David looked round and replied softly, just where I was certain of what he said. "Goodbye." Suddenly his whole body lost control as if he'd been tased. His arms flailed for a moment and he fell over, cracking his head on a dinner table. Blood poured onto the ground as his muscles slowly relaxed, and he collapsed into a heap on the floor. Dead. The police report called it that he died from his condition. Not a suicide, not anything, just natural causes. I made it along. No one believed me when I told them of what I saw so quickly. I stopped telling people. And with a closed casket funeral, I was the only one of our friends and family to see him looking like a zombie. Other than my mum, he was in utter denial about the whole thing, and ended up on her deathbed with similar symptoms herself just a couple of months later. Like anything else, it just kind of disappeared. After researching the topic and essentially making it my hobby to research throughout high school, I've accumulated the following facts. In certain parts of Africa, Brazil and Thailand, there is a rare fungus known scientifically as Ophiocordyceps unilaterus. Its more common nickname, zombie fungi. It infects certain species of ants and essentially possesses their small little brains so they will walk to a decent place for the fungi to reproduce. Then the fungi kills the ant and spreads in its new area. After the accident, I grew a green clump on my leg. I had it surgically amputated early on, before I had the chance to grow. I don't know if David was the first. I don't know if my mother infected anyone. There's a chance, though. I don't know about the other 14 kids. However, I do know what's out there, and that there is no cure.